Hello everyone. Today we are taking a deep dive into this Reuters report, U.S. consumers favor home buying over renting for first time since 2023, BOFA study shows. We are going to break down exactly what is behind this shift and what it actually means for anyone thinking about buying right now. But before that, you are watching Decode Daily News, where we take the biggest business and finance stories and decode them so anyone can understand. If you are not subscribed yet, hit that button right now. So let us get into it. Okay, so this headline alone tells you something shifted. A majority of US consumers now say they would prefer to buy a home rather than rent or move in with family. And here is what that really tells you. This is not a small mood swing. For 2 years, renting was the safer emotional choice. People were tired of waiting, tired of guessing rates, and renting felt like the rational move. Now that pattern is breaking. And here is the part that makes this timing so important. This is the first time since 2023 that sentiment has favored homeownership. Now sit with that for a second. 2 years is a long stretch for sentiment to stay stuck in one direction. When it finally flips after that long, it usually means people are done waiting on the sidelines, even if the math has not actually gotten easier underneath them. And the part that makes this more interesting is who is driving it. Gen Z and Millennials leading the change in attitudes. And that is not a small thing. Younger buyers, the same group that has been priced out the hardest the last few years, are the ones pushing this shift. That usually signals urgency building underneath the surface, not comfort. And then came the number that shows exactly how close this race actually is. 53% now favor buying, while 47% favored renting. Here is the part that hits different. A 53 to 47 split is not a landslide. It is close, but the direction matters more than the margin here. This is a story about momentum shifting, not a market that has suddenly resolved itself. But here is where the story gets more honest. 71% of respondents were waiting for interest rates and home prices to fall before purchasing, down from 75% in 2025. And that part is worth sitting with. So even with this shift in mood, 7 out of 10 people are still hoping for relief that may not come on their timeline. That is the tension in this entire story. Desire is rising faster than actual affordability. And that gap is exactly where a lot of buyers end up making rushed decisions later. And then came the number that backs this up even more. About 22% said they plan to purchase within the next year, compared with 15% in 2025. That one line changes everything. That is a real jump. People are not just feeling differently, they are putting a timeline on it now. And once someone puts a number on when they are buying, they start adjusting behavior around it. Savings, budgeting, even compromising on location or size, just to make a purchase happen inside that window. Now here is the line that I think gets overlooked the most. Buyers and owners are increasingly optimistic, and many are starting to move forward rather than waiting on the sidelines. Pause right there. This is the contradiction sitting at the center of the whole report. Affordability has not improved. Rates have not dropped in any meaningful way. But intent is rising anyway. That tells you people are starting to accept the current environment as the new normal instead of waiting for it to go back to how it used to be. And that confidence had a catch attached to it. Affordability remains the main barrier or constraint out in the market, but that buyer intent is rising. Now that right there is the real headline, so even the bank's own data team is admitting the math has not changed. What changed is patience. And when intent rises faster than affordability does, that gap usually gets filled by people compromising, stretching budgets, or settling for less than they originally wanted. So that is exactly where my take comes in. But real quick before I give you my take, this video is for educational purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. So honestly, this report reads less like good news and more like pressure building up. People are not buying because things got easier. They are buying because they are tired of waiting for easier. And that is a very different motivation, one that usually leads to people stretching their budgets more than they should. What concerns me is that gap between desire and affordability. When 71% of people are still hoping rates drop, and 22% say they are buying within a year anyway, some of those buyers are going to move before the math actually works in their favor. And if you are someone thinking about buying soon, this report is basically telling you that you are not alone in feeling that urgency. But urgency by itself should never be the reason you sign anything. If you found this breakdown helpful, smash that like button and subscribe for more decoded business news every single day. So let me ask you this, if affordability has not actually improved, what do you think is really driving this sudden urgency to buy? Drop your take in the comments.